It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
And welcome to the realm of geekdom. This is Nerd Breaking News. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of our episodes. Today, we're going to go ahead and talk about some news that kind of came up. A new Batman in the DC universe. Go ahead and give us a little bit of background here, kid. What is going on?
So essentially, couple of things going on. One, Matt Reeves was asked in the Golden Globes on Sunday with regards to whether his Batman, Robert Pattinson, was going to be included in the new DCU led by James Gunn in his universe, which is the main universe. And the Batman with Matt Reeves' universe, the Reedverse, is the Elseworld Batman. So there's been a lot of speculation, and he essentially didn't deny it. And then further, the director of the Brave and the Bold, Andy Muschietti, who directed probably the worst comic book movie not named Catwoman, The Flash. He's directing the movie. I don't know why. I just don't know why he got back into the comic book world after what he did. Essentially, he confirmed this week that Robert Pattinson will not be the DCU main Batman. He's going to be in his Elseworld universe over there. And there's been a lot of speculations with fans who are pro this and against that. And with that, I guess I'll say my take. I'm conflicted because I love Robert Pattinson's take. I think he's the best live action Batman. He needs to get the Bruce Wayne part done, but the actual Batman, he's the best live action Batman. Because again, anybody who knows Batman in terms of the comic books knows that he's the master detective. There's no 1A 1B. He is the master detective in the DC universe. And for him and for Matt Reeves to actually show that version of Batman that we haven't seen. We've seen little tips, right? You've seen Christian Bale do some with Michael Caine, do some background investigation. We've seen Michael Keaton do the investigation of the Joker and the Penguin in part 2. We've seen horribly Ben Affleck do horrendous investigation, because if he actually did some investigation, he would have figured out that Henry Cavill wasn't a bad guy. But whatever. That's the Snyder. Here, as much as I love Robert Pattinson, he's my favorite Batman. I don't want him to be part of the DCU for two reasons. One, I think Matt Reeves, what he's doing is hitting home runs. And I just think right now, and TK said this in the previous video, DC's recovering. DC is in a civil war right now. There's a lot of people have their own subjective takes on this character. This is the most important character in the DCU. He's the most popular character in comic book history. He is considered to be the GOAT now. He's not my GOAT, but he's considered to be the GOAT. And he is. It's very hard for people to say he sucks. It's rare that people say that he sucks. It's rare, even Marvel fans, to say that he's trash. Yep. He's universally loved by a lot of people. I think the majority. I think like if you want to do a chart, probably like a 90-something% of people do love this character. So I just think that James Gunn has his own interpretation, because James Gunn did a video last year saying that the Brave and the Bold is going to be him and Damian Wayne, his son, and then the Bat family. A lot of people were excited about that. I'm not really excited about that, but whatever. Because if you're watching Creature Commandos, which I'm not, but if you're watching Creature Commandos, there was they showed the first DCU Batman animated of how he looks in I think the last episode, not this episode, but the one before. And the story was one of the characters in Creature Commandos that he interacted with Bruce / Batman 15 years ago. So now you're kind of going the route of Snyder, where you're giving us an old Batman where 15 years of him being Batman, and we're kind of going to gloss over a lot of stuff in 15-year career, as opposed to Robert Pattinson, who's in the second year as being Batman, and we're going to see just a different interpretation. So again, I say all that background to say I don't want him there for two reasons. One reason is I think Matt Reeves is killing it. He's 2 for 2. Colin Farrell just won a Golden Globe for The Penguin. It was universally loved by the majority of the comic book fans. The Batman, this one, the movie that came out in 2022, made almost $800 million. That's 300 more or less than Batman Begins when it came out in 2005. Meaning that the second film will probably make $1 billion if everything goes well. And then the other thing is I don't trust the DCU until Superman comes out. I don't count Creature Commandos as the beginning, even though James Gunn says it is. Nobody watches that show. Nobody cares about that show. And I get it. You're obsessed with the ensemble characters. You're obsessed with these obscure characters that could only fly for a little bit. You made the Guardians amazing. You can't always be, hey, I'm about to take a bunch of scrubs and make them cool. After a while, it's like, yo, we get it. You did it because think about it. He did it with three Guardian movies, one Suicide Scrub movie, and now he did it with the Creature Commandos. So now that's what, 5? That's 5 ensemble films. It makes me think, can you do anything not name ensemble? And look at Superman. Superman has Hawk Girl, Green Lantern, which is Guy Gardner, the worst Green Lantern ever, Mr. Terrific, Lex Luthor, Ultraman, part of the Authority, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen. Like it's huge. And oh, by the way, supposedly Supergirl, right? Supergirl supposedly in the movie. So I'm just like, okay, cool. So now you add so many people. And I just think Robert Pattinson's take, last thing is that Robert Pattinson's take is a grounded, realistic take of Matt Reeves based on his vision. He calls it the crime saga, his Batman world. If you look at Superman and Creature Commanders, you have the Bride of Frankenstein. You have all these creatures and creature commandos. You have Superman fighting a kaiju. It's a fantastical comic booky world that James Gunn is doing that doesn't correlate to what Matt Reeves is doing. And Matt Reeves already said that he wants to keep it grounded. And I just think that you can't have Robert Pattinson next to David Corenswet and a kaiju because that's not what Matt Reeves wants to do. And if I'm an executive of Warner Brothers, I'm saying the only way this works, right? This is a disclaimer. The only way this works is you have to recon some of the Batman lore that already has been occurred through Creature Commandos and all that stuff. But even again, before I give it to the professor, I just think that Reeves should be in charge of DC. It should be the Reeves verse moving forward. And I think David Corenswet should be joining the Reeves verse as opposed to vice versa, the rumors. So yeah, I don't want him there.
Professor,
okay. So pop quiz. That Batman in that picture, who is it?
Which one? The
one to the right, next to the Batman, the cartoon one with Damian Wayne with the sword. Who's the Batman in the picture? That is actually Dick Grayson. And that's the reason why I think that movie is called The Brave and the Bold. What that storyline is about in the comics is Dick Grayson essentially becoming Batman and training Damian as Robin. And when you're looking at the tone of that story, it's like it focuses on Batman as a detective. It keeps a certain level of lightheartedness. It's a story where Batman and Robin don't get along, actually. And it's a story that has a good amount of action, but the action's secondary, which is likely why they're trying to adapt that storyline and also why they have that Muschietti guy as a director. Because what he's very good at is lighthearted action. And what he's also good at is containing the budget of a movie. And when you're looking at modern directors now, particularly because these movies are taking so much CGI, a lot of these filming companies are looking for folks who are able to contain the costs of their movies, something that Marvel completely failed at. And you see how a $200 million movie becomes 400, 500, 600 million. And Muschietti, even though he made a terrible movie with Flash, he controlled that budget, which is likely part of the reason why they have him in there. However, is that a good idea? No, he's a terrible director. The Flash was terrible. I haven't seen anything of his that I like.
Have you seen It?
Oh, he did It? Really?
He did. Here's the problem, though, Professor. He did It Part 2.
But not It Part 1?
He did both of them. But Part 2...
Those were good.
Part 2 negates Part 1. Yeah, correct.
The second one was the first one was much better, though.
I love Part 1. Part 2 was horrible.
I don't want to say it was horrible, but it wasn't as good as Part 1. But your ultimate point is that he can't be trusted. And I agree with you. He should not be trusted, especially because the DCU, in my mind, doesn't currently exist. You don't have a cinematic universe until things connect to it. You have an actual storyline people buy into. Until they build that, they can't talk about no universe, nothing. They need to be going out here movie by movie by movie, building things that people want to see. And when you're looking at Brave and the Bold, it's a really good idea if executed properly. Do I trust him to do that? No. Do I trust Matt Reeves to do that? Yes. But that's exactly why that won't happen. And here's my argument. When you're looking at production credits in Hollywood, there's also an element of control and power that comes with it. So the average fan stops and they say, hey, we should just make Robert Pattinson into the DCU Batman. And while the fans would be happy with that, you got to ask yourself, how would James Gunn feel about that? Knowing that a tone that isn't his will have to be inserted into his films, and he would also have to go to this guy for permission/feedback regarding how he uses any of the characters that he's corrected. And ultimately, if James Gunn has to accept Matt Reeves as a producer in every film that features Batman, that would also mean that Matt Reeves would have a degree of creative control, which reduces the credit that James Gunn gets and would also increase the power that Matt Reeves has. And if you're reading the tea leaves, I feel, and the kid can correct me if I'm wrong, that more DC fans support Matt Reeves than James Gunn. So when things go wrong, it's going to be James Gunn's fault. When things go right, it'll be all because Matt Reeves is there. And for James Gunn to keep his job, he can't let that happen. And that's the reason why Robert Pattinson will not be the DCU Batman unless Superman fails. If Superman fails, then it'll happen. If Superman succeeds, James Gunn will pop up with a whole new Batman. Don't be surprised if it's Dick Grayson.
And that's interesting because the scoopers online, they're actually saying the opposite, and I think and logically I agree with you more than the scoopers because the scoopers TK are saying if Superman fails in July with that gauntlet that's coming in, which we talked about this last video, it's a possibility that you might fail. If it fails box office wise, then some scoopers, I'm not saying every scooper, some scoopers have already been saying that the merger is going to happen if it succeeds, because the argument is Matt Reeves has been killing it. He's 2 for 2. The Batman has been announced to come out in October of 2027. It got delayed a year. And because of the success of Matt Reeves and the success of Superman, let's keep like to what TK was saying last time. We can't trust DC, but too many L's.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, if you really think about it, like, why are we even trying to push the idea that there's a DC universe in there? Like, why do we need to push it? Like, this could be simply just basic Batman film, a basic Superman film in their own universe. There's no need to try to unite everything. Like, you lost the war with Marvel years ago. Let it go. Yeah. This is time for you to recover. This is time for you to go ahead and think about putting good products out there that people could say, you know what, I'm willing to go ahead and see a DC film now. Right now, we don't anybody is going to sit there. They're just going to say, I don't know. Maybe when it comes out in Max,
Professor, before you go, TK brought up that great point. I love that idea, bro. I love it because we've seen it before. It doesn't have to be connected. We've seen Elseworld movies ball nuts. Look at the Joker in 2019 when it came out. It made $1 billion. It was an Elseworld film. It wasn't connected. That's what I'm arguing. In other words, what I'm hearing is the lazy narrative. You know what it is, the lazy narrative? Oh, if everything's not connected, how could somebody differentiate all the different characters, right? Because look what Muschietti said in the article, whatever that came out, that supposedly Warner Brothers doesn't want Matt Reeves Part 2, and then The Brave and the Bold come out 7 or even like a year and a half apart. I'm like, but you're insulting the audience, because to DK's point, I could watch Robert Pattinson because I know what I'm getting. It's going to be a serious criminal mafia film type detective film, and then I could be like, I'm going to go more fantastical and watch an 11, 12-year-old kid assassin and Damian Wayne use a sword against Gotham people. In other words, I don't like that argument, Jay, when I'm hearing the audience can't differentiate. They're too dumb.
Because again, what happens is the scoopers are all made up. We're basically scoopers at this point, okay? Anyone who says that they're a scooper is a scooper. People just make stuff up. They don't have any sources. They're lying. Here's what it comes down to. You're wondering, why is it that all the movies have to be connected? The answer is simple. Because they cost over $200 million to make. Think about it like a business. Once you've already put down $100 million, what is 2? Only $100 million more. Run it. So when you're looking at it, Captain America Brave New World is a prime example of what I'm talking about. When they start going down the path of a bad movie, how do you stop? Think about it. How do you stop? You're midway through production. You've already put $100 million into it. You got to put as much more money into that movie as you can to get people to watch it. That's why you got a Hulk and a Captain America movie, okay? Because people stop and they said, whatever it takes to get people to see it. That's why the movies have to connect. Because when you're looking at it, the WB needs to be able to make bad movies that people see anyways. Ask yourself a question, in all seriousness. How many Marvel movies have lost money? How many?
Captain Marvel, the second Captain Marvel, what's it called? The Marvels?
Yes. When you're looking at it, probably only 1 or 2 out of
Thor 2, The Dark World?
It
really?
didn't. It did not. No. The answer is really only 1 or 2. So when you're thinking, there have been plenty of
The Eternals for sure. The Eternals for sure.
It did not.
It came out during COVID.
Exactly. But when you're looking at the budget,
everybody took a hit with COVID.
It still made money. It didn't make the profit that they wanted, but it still made money.
Okay.
So when you're looking at it, that's what every studio wants. Because remember, these movies are made off of debt. They have to go to banks to get this money, okay?
Correct.
So they need to be able to say, listen, I'm going to get a certain return on this, or I'll break even. How many times has the WBDC lost money? Too many times.
Yeah, I hear that Goldberg theme song, right? Like
exactly. Exactly. So when you're looking at it, they need these things to connect so they can stop losing money. That's all it is. It's just that simple. They need to be able to coerce you into seeing a movie that you don't want to see.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You're saying it from a financial and business perspective, which makes logical sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you,
correct.
Narratively, what do you think of Robert Pattinson next to David Corenswet?
It's a terrible idea. He's
correct.
He's half that man's size.
Horrible.
And at the same time, too, Robert Pattinson's all emo, and Corenswet's like optimism. And that's why I'm telling you, the DCU Batman is supposed to be Dick Grayson. Because when you're looking at it and you're thinking about how the Superman Dick Grayson relationship works in comics, that's a dynamic that translates best to what James Gunn wants to present on screen.
Jay, hold on. Hold on. But you're being a little slick here. And you're not being intentional. It's accidental.
Okay.
If James Gunn, who's getting destroyed left and right by everybody, he put the trailer out, wow, people are going to criticize anything.
Mm-hmm.
If this man comes down and says tomorrow and says, hey, the Brave and the Bold, screw Bruce Wayne, we're going to go with Dick Grayson. TK, you know the avalanche of criticism coming his way if he says Dick Grayson is the DCU Batman. Come on, Jay, stop capping.
Watch my finishing move. Yeah. And then the movie ends and Michael Keaton comes out as Bruce Wayne.
No.
You find out Damian Wayne is his son, and boom, all is right again in the universe.
No, because the last time we saw Michael Keaton was Andy Muschietti. We don't want to see them together again in a movie.
What a coincidence!
No,
what a coincidence!
No, because even though Michael Keaton was the best part of that movie, which he was, even though Michael Keaton was the best part of that movie,
only part of the movie.
Correct. Michael Keaton's legendary performance, as he's the OG Batman.
Yeah, you're right.
His 13 minutes in the Flash couldn't save the 200 and something runtime. It couldn't do it.
Right. But here's my question for you. Does Michael Keaton Batman have a Robin?
By the way, a little nerd thing here. Who was his Robin in Batman Returns, but he got cut?
Wasn't it supposed to be Damian Wayne?
Correct.
Something like that?
Damian Wayans. Did you know that? Yeah. Damian Wayans was hired by Warner Brothers to be Robin in Batman Returns, but he got cut. And then in part 3, when Tim Burton bounced from the project and Michael Keaton said, I'm out too, and they got Val Kilmer, they paid supposedly Sean Waynes to get out of the movie, and they paid Billy D. Williams to get out of the movies because they were supposed to come back for part 3. So anyway, that's a little nerd thing. Yeah. But yeah, to your point, he doesn't have a Robin. I just think if they go that route, Jay, I'm telling you, he's going to get destroyed by everybody.
Okay, here's my question for you.
Because he's the most popular character in the history of comic books. He needs to have in his DCU, there needs to be a hardcore Bruce Wayne. Because if there's no hardcore Bruce Wayne Batman, Jay, you know how much Batman fans are there? If he doesn't get Batman right, whoo.
Well, but here's the thing. So when you look at Brave and the Bold,
you're going to put out there the people that don't follow comic books. You can say, wait, that's not Bruce Wayne. That's somebody else. Who's that? That makes no sense to me.
Because Jay, the criticism he also has,
non-comic book people will be confused.
Correct. Because James Gunn, for me, I love the fact that he's doing comic book crap. But here's the problem with James Gunn also as well. To your point, Jack, I'm getting into your point. If he goes too comic booky and not casual dudes like Feige does,
right? But here's my thing: how many experience do y'all have with Damian Wayne as a character? And I don't mean in the cartoon. I mean the comic book Dwayne Wade. I'm not Dwayne Wade. Damian Wayne. That's funny. Damian Wayne. Yeah. Oh my god, I keep doing it. Robin essentially is Bruce Wayne in the comic books in terms of the grittiness, the violence, the detective skills. It's literally just watching Bruce Wayne as a little kid, if that makes any sense. And going back, what a coincidence that Brave and the Bold isn't called Batman.
But I think it is. I think it's called Batman the Brave and the Bold. I think so. I think you have to look that up. I think it's called Batman Brave and the Bold. I don't know.
No, that's much better. From what I was looking into research, it just comes up as the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
If it don't do it.
So the Brave is Dick Grayson as Batman. The Bold is Damian Wayne as Robin. Because he's over here just beating up people left and right. And Dick Grayson's like, yo, chill, man, chill. That's what the whole thing's about. That's money. Like that'll make money.
The Brave and the Bold. I think you're right. Oh my God.
That makes money. I'm telling you. You remember Kick-Ass?
Well,
yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's Kick-Ass.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Did you like Kick-Ass? I like Kick-Ass.
Part 2 was horrible. Part 2 was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
Just like It Too, directed by who? Andy Muschietti.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't disagree with you. You're not wrong.
I'm just saying I don't know how Gunn said, you know what this movie needs? The Flash guy. And Gunn should get criticized because you know what he did when the Flash came out? He said that was one of the best movies he's ever seen. So I'm like, this is the vision of the DCU guy. Oh Lord.
And that's
Matt Reeves saved me. Save me, Matt Reeves. Save me, Matt Reeves.
Yes, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Oh. Well, there you go. Let's go ahead and end it right here because this is very, very interesting to see the changes in the Batman and what's going to happen here at the DC universe. So thank you for tuning in, whether you're a Jedi Time Traveler or one of the Batmans. Thank you for keeping your fandom alive and your warp drive engaged. Till next time, fellow nerds, this was Nerd Breaking